audience who've taken time out today to join us for this important discussion on leveraging digital technologies for better governance and higher growth. Firstly, we pray you, your families, and close ones are safe and healthy in these pandemic times. I, Himanshu Kapania, the chairman of FICCI, Telecom, Electronics, and Digital Economy Council, and the non-executive chairman of Vodafone Idea Limited, is a company, a telecom company in India, will be moderating for today's program. As you are all aware, India is hosting the BRICS Business Council this year, and I'm delighted to lead digital economy working group and coordinate with all BRICS Digital Council members for presenting our views to the larger BRICS forum. Over the last 4 months, we've gathered multiple times and deliberated upon digital agenda for the BRICS and finalized 6 key topics. Our broad recommendations include number one, digital governance. We propose to exchange information and best practices, promote institutional cooperation, and showcase case studies on successful implementation of digital governance within member countries. Number two, digital infrastructure, where we deliberated on enhancing international coordination, on promoting new technologies, and engaging in intra-BRICS dialogue on important issues of ICT, including data governance and critical infrastructure issues, including 5G and broadband coverage of underpenetrated rural areas. Number three, digitization of healthcare. Here, we deliberated and planned to establish exchange programs among BRIC nations on integrating development in health related digital technologies and develop mechanisms to support the implementation in 3 key areas. A, health monitoring sensors. B, induction of robotics for repetitive work in surgery and C, use of artificial intelligence in drug development. Number fourth topic that we chose was smart manufacturing, and we proposed to take a collaborative approach for sharing fourth industrial technology experiences and facilitate wherever feasible technology transfer on smart manufacturing across multiple sectors within the big nations. The fifth topic we agreed was digital skills, where we encouraged to identify the specific core digital skill competencies of each member and then partner for cross-fertilization of skills and imparting specific education. We decided to share learnings and experiences in a quest for inclusive digital literacy program. And final topic that we agreed was e-commerce. Here the members proposed to act as a forum to pave the way for higher cross-border digital trade and mutual investment. We also envisage to become an important repository on individual members' e-commerce policies, regulations, tax regimes, logistics, customs practices, and payment mechanisms, etc. As a part of this whole program of being able to promote digital across all member countries, FICCI is happy to take the initiative to hold its first learning session in the form of a panel discussion on an important topic, leveraging digital technologies for better governance and higher growth. Before I introduce the panel members, let me share a few India's pioneering program on digital governance, which have created nationwide impact. I believe even some of these have had global impact. The first very successful program is Aadhaar, the digital revolution that has enabled India to create Aadhaar, the world's largest biometric identity system with nearly 1,296,000,000 citizens enrolled on the same. With mobile number, PAN number, which is a identity number for our income tax, bank account linked with Aadhaar, India has been able to create a unique digital identity for every citizens of the country. The second big initiative has an acronym name of UPI. As you know, digital has helped India to build economic inclusivity across various sectors of the society. India developed one of its kind instant real-time payment system known as Unified Payment Interface, or in short, UPI. UPI has so far facilitated cumulatively over 3.2 billion financial transactions worth over 6 trillion and has been the lifeline of the masses, especially in times of the lockdown. The trinity of Aadhaar, as we spoke earlier, mobile and bank account, has been boon for government to provide direct monetary transfer, in short, DBT, to the economically weaker sections of the society, a far superior system to the earlier subsidy model for the weaker society where the leakage was very high. And another and equally important initiative has been Erego Setu and CoWIN apps. As you know, digital has been virus, with Arogo Setu app providing us contactless updates on any nearby risk of infection, and CoWIN platforms being the key facilitators of COVID-19 vaccination drive. Till date, Arega Setu app has been used by over 200 million Indians, and CoWIN app has 496 million registration for vaccination, and 545 million doses has been administered already across over 400 million Indians. While each BRICS nation is charting its path in e-governance, and we will learn immensely from the implementation of e-governance programs by sharing experiences among ourselves. Today, we have a panel of 5 esteemed guests from BRICS member nations, and I'm sure they will be having very interesting experience and perspective to share on digital governance. Let me quickly introduce our panelists. Number one is Mr. Daniel Steffelberg from Brazil. I'll request if he can raise his hand for the benefit of all the audience. He is the key member of, is the data protection officer and the government relationship manager from Brascom, Brazil's Association of Information and Communication Technology, ICT, and Digital Technologies Company. Second on the list is my dear friend Anna Nestrova from Russia. She's been a key member driving BRICS Digital Council and also is the chairperson of Global Russia's Trade, the leading Russian platform for cross-border e-commerce. Third on the list is Mr. Tushar Parekh from India. He is the head of an Indian IT company, TCS, the country head of Brazil, and is also the BFSI. I believe that's the banking financial services head of Latin America. Fourth on the list of our panelists today evening is Ms. Meiyang Susan from China, is the chairman and president of China Unicom Global Limited, and I have a very positive experience of having visited China Unicom way back in 2016. They are doing excellent work in the telecom sphere. And finally, the list has Ms. Puthi Mahange Demanga from South Africa. She's currently the Chief Executive Officer of Nespas South Africa Limited. The format of today's discussion is each panelist will have 5 minutes to share their views on leveraging digital technologies for better governance and higher growth. After this, we will discuss key questions on this topic, and if time permits, we will also take some questions from the audience. May I now request our panelists to deliver their opening remarks in the same order as I introduce them, and starting with Mr. Daniel from Brazil. Over to you, Mr. Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Campagna. In your name, I greet everyone that is the participant in this live. It's an honor to be here. I will continue in Portuguese since it was provided a translator, and I think it will be better for all of us. Meu nome é Daniel, eu estou representando a Brascom. Agradeço a CNI a oportunidade da Brascom estar nesse debate. A Brascom representa empresas de tecnologia da informação e comunicação.
I represent this business technology firm.
Hoje, o setor de tecnologia da
Today,
informação
the information
representa no
technology
Brasil,
sector in Brazil
eu preciso desligar, representa mais ou menos 6,8% do PIB brasileiro.
represents more than 6.8% of the gross national product of Brazil. These numbers are very important. In fact, 1.7 million workers are involved in this sector of telecommunications, and it is impressing. In fact, it provides employment to such large number of people. We have in fact seen an increase in the number of workers working in this sector. We also have this cloud computing. In 2020, the growth has been spectacular, and it has added to the spectacular increase in the Brazilian economy. In relation to between 20 and 20, we are the leading, we are leaders of this technology in Latin America. This would translate into more than $90 million in terms of production. And we work in the field of big data. We work also in the field of artificial intelligence and internet connectivity. And that translates into 32 billion reals of Brazil. In fact, what we are doing is the institutionalization of governance, which is not only focused on, but also for investment. We also give our contribution in the democratization of Brazil and modernization of the country. These platforms that we create are used by the public, and we add to the enhancement of business. Besides the protection of data, we also started cloud computing, which we started in Brazil. And we are in a phase being the data protection authority. In fact, I'm bringing preliminary data, preliminary information. When the question answer takes place, then I would be able to explain it better. In fact, what we help is using a mechanism for better governance. We can talk about it later in the question answer session. We can also talk about the legislation and the mechanism for enhancing cooperation. So I thank Mr. Campania, and I give mic to the next person.
May I request Anna to please take the floor and give her opening remarks, please?
Thank you much, Mr. Kapania. Добрый день. I will speak Russia.
I will be
Portuguese.
speaking in Russian. I would like to thank, and I will be talking about priorities.
Eu vou falar de prioridades
из которых I would like to thank our Indian colleagues
Eu gostaria de
for
agradecer os nossos colegas.
organizing. Despite the fact that the last year has been a very difficult year because of the pandemic, we have conducted useful work, and we would like to, despite the fact this hasn't led to the decrease in the activities of our company, and Russia has been participated in all programs of BRICS. И мы хотели бы предложить некоторые решения проблем, которые могли бы, which would help to fight pandemic. And we are looking at the possibilities of collaboration with Russia, with India and Brasilia. There is echo. And we have already increased our trade in many folds. We are looking at the we have together mining industries which are very advanced, and we would like to establish collaboration in that field, particularly when it comes to the high-level value metals. Despite the fact that coronavirus restrictions have put some restrictions, but we will continue to collaborate, and nonetheless we have increased our turnover by 4.95 million or billion, I do not know. And we have seen that people have started buying products more and more online, and therefore the retail globally has increased within the online format, and now we have about 88 gigabytes in second. The traffic of purchases made online. And we can add to that all kinds of digital games, etc. So you can see the digital traffic has increased many-fold. And we believe that we have special hopes on the digital economy, and we believe that This has become one of the main elements of further development of economies across the world. And we believe that this has led to the increase in GDP by $4,000 trillion US. There is this distinctive difference between the countries in the use of digital technologies. In the developed countries, this has been widely used, whereas on the other hand, the least digitalized countries have seen decrease in their economic growth. In our country, the companies which were large companies, and because they were compelled to limit their activities, they had to resort to digitalization, whereas the smaller companies, they didn't have that opportunity and therefore had to face losses. Okay, I don't have audio. There is no audio.
Anna,
Okay.
you've gone on mute.
No, we are not on mute. No audio. No audio at Anna Nesterovой.
Anna, you are on mute. Can you hear us? Yeah, thank you. You were on mute for about a minute.
Пропала. Аудио у вас. Нет, вас не слышно.
Mr. Kapania, can you hear me?
Вот.
Yes, we can hear you.
Слышно.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Now you can hear me. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You heard me or no? I can.
Yeah, we heard the first 3 minutes.
The last time you were talking about small sector, where the small sector was struggled during the pandemic, where the large sector went for digitization. That's
Okay.
the audio stopped.
Just let's
Yeah, if you can continue from there.
I will continue. So, sorry. До 2030 года
To 2030,
более чем в 24 тысячах населенных пунктах
in 224,000, there will be digitization, and they all have access to internet, which is a factor in digitalization. As regards the government institutions, they also show that for the Russian portal of government services, 2020, it was more than 1 billion access to this portal, which was many-fold as compared to the 2019. And we believe that digital transformation is a very important factor for Russian, and we have seen that COVID pandemic has accelerated this trend, and we can see that no adverse situation can put the human endeavor stop their activities, and we believe that our countries can continue to grow and collaborate in the field of digitization. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Anna. May I request Mr. Tushar from India to please give his opening remarks?
I would request Mr. Prashant.
Tushar.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kawani. Good morning and good evening to all. I am from India and last 9 years being based in Brazil. TCS is among the top 3 global technology service and consultancy companies. TCS is also the part of Tata Group, which is the leading multinational base out of India. It is a real honor to be here, and thank you for the opportunity. Talking about digital economy, which is different and more impactful as compared to previous revolutions that mankind has experienced. The disruption to citizens, countries, and businesses is unprecedented. How digital technologies are collapsing long-lasting industry boundaries and forcing them to think or rethink and reconsider how enterprises are organized and creating new horizontal ecosystems as a probable new organization of the future. And this transformation will benefit immensely because it will align businesses closer to where the real human need is. So digital has enabled the productivity that it requires to drive the experience. Technology is empowering people, countries, companies, and societies. India is a diverse society with 2/3 of 1.35 billion people living in rural areas with a large young population. Digital technologies are being put to best by government transforming the citizen life cycle. Some of that was explained by Mr. Kapani as well through connected citizen ecosystem solutions, e-education, e-healthcare, and agriculture, and more. Let me give few example about mission critical digital program which is running in India, like High Flying India. It's a passport seva program which is the largest and most successful mission of e-governance program to deliver services to citizens from 93 passport seva kendras located across 63 cities, 425 post office passport seva kendras, 180 plus Indian missions and embassies over, making it a single global system on a common platform. There has been a twofold increase in application volume service annually from 5.41 million in 2008 to 11.6 million in 2020, with overall passport issuance being reduced from 45 to 60 days. Second example could be Connected India, which is world's largest postal network modernization program, which is like last mile to reach for the remotest corner. Modern day, the digital India is the story of technology running the last mile to pull together the deepest corner of the nation, breaking down the inertia of legacy systems and blurring the lines between rural and urban. The modernization of postal services has helped point of sales customers and covering more than 150,000 post offices and more than 450,000 employees. So I can say rural banking and postal service are driving financial inclusion in India. And there are more examples like Healthy India, which is like world's largest government-funded health program, Ayushman Bharat, and Empowered India, which Mr. Kapani also talked about, other and giving unique identity and a digital platform to authenticate anytime, anywhere. Like talking to the second part of this, how technology enables better governance by increasing transparency, improving public participation, promoting efficiencies, and ensuring information security, which is key. To summarize or to conclude, digital technology will also serve the greater good when they are governed for a greater good. We'll be happy to share additional points as we move forward in the panel. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tushar Parekh. We are going to request Ms. Meng from China if she can make her opening speech, please. Ms. Meng, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Look forward to your speech.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Good afternoon and good morning. Good evening,
Здравствуйте или добрый вечер.
gentlemen. My dear friends, just a moment. I will switch the.
Я хочу
Okay.
выключить.
It's my great pleasure to meet you, new friends and old friends, at today's meeting. Here, I would like to share
Я
with you the
хотела
progress
бы с
of
вами
China's digital
поделиться
economy and how
успехом,
China's
который
digital
достигла
governance contributes to
китайские
economic growth.
компании.
Also, I would like to raise some suggestions on
Также хотела бы
development of
привнести
digital economy
некоторые
in brief
предложения.
First, let me share with you the
Прежде всего,
latest
я хочу
progress
сказать,
of the digital economy in China. Recent
каким
years have
образом
seen rapid development
Китай
in
работает в
China's
этой
digital
сфере.
economy, which expanded from 400 billion US dollar in 2005 to 6 trillion US dollar by 2020. The digital economy has, as a share of China's GDP, rose from 14% to 38.6%. Since early 2020, the COVID pandemic has presented biggest uncertainty to global economy. Despite the adversity, China's digital economy kept a growth rate of 9.7%, contributing a vital force to domestic economic growth. The digital economy has played an important role in scoring victories of fighting the pandemic and supporting social economic development. As a continued growth of the digital economy, China's telecom sector, you all know that I'm from China Unicom. China Unicom is one of the 3 telecom operators in China. All China's telecom sector has been upgrading its telecom networks and developing new information infrastructure to support social digitalization. For example, China's telecom operators continued to develop its 5G network by constructing over 300,000 new 5G base stations in the first 7 months of 2021, ensuring excellent 5G coverage in the key cities across the country. Next, second, I would like to share with you how digital governance and digitalization have contributed to economic growth in China. Despite in a complex and challenging international environment, China's digital economy maintained robust and steady growth. First, the digital consumption has been the major mode of domestic demand. One face-to-face interaction restricted by the pandemic. Most of traditional sectors like clothing, restaurant, entertainment, and education all moved online. Virtual office, video conferencing, cloud exhibition, and e-sports have boomed in China's domestic market. Online shopping and online teaching have shown great resiliency during the crisis and unleashed great market opportunities. Online consumption has served a key engine of China's domestic consumption and economic circulation. Second, The digital trade has witnessed rapid development. In 2020, the digital economy accounted for 40.7% of the value added of the China's service sector, up 2.9 year-on-year. The service sector boasts the highest level and the most rapid progress of digitalization among the primary, secondary, and tertiary industries. Throughout the year, the online retail sales of physical goods increased by 14.8%, representing 24.9% of the total consumer goods retail sales. As an e-commerce platform for industrial goods from China Petroleum and Chemical Corporation, which is also a member of the BRICS Business Council, ePack.com reported a cumulative transaction volume above $154 billion from the Chinese portal and a cumulative transaction volume of $37 billion from the global portal by the end of 2020. Third, the digital economy has created more job opportunities. The booming digital economy has transformed the job market, giving rise to new modes of flexible employment like self-employment, freelancing, and gig jobs that can lead to gainful employment opportunities in the market. Finally, I would like to briefly share with you an update from China's Digital Economy Working Group in the first half of this year and share with you some of our expectations for closer cooperation and exchanges within the BRICS countries. Throughout 4 rounds of discussions among the BRICS countries, the Digital Economy Working Group has put forth suggestions and shared experience for the digital economy development in 6 critical areas, including digital government, digital infrastructure, digital healthcare, smart manufacturing, and e-commerce. Furthermore, the working group is drafting 3 reports for providing overview of the key aspects of the digital economy and continued to welcome new members such as Jelly House, which is a very competitive player in digital health sector, to our working group. Not only that, we conducted many virtual workshops to share updates and experience. Regarding follow-up discussions, we would like to suggest that BRICS countries draw upon each other's strengths in the digital economy through business communication, accelerate technology iteration, and promote our respective strengths in technology, information, and human resource. First, infrastructure connectivity. BRICS countries have potentials for cooperation and sharing experience in new technologies like 4G, 5G, and even 6G communication, IoT, and in such areas as expanding telecom coverage in remote regions and bridging the digital divide. Second, digital governance. BRICS countries may engage in further dialogue, cooperation, and technical exchange. We stand ready to share our experience in fighting COVID with other countries. Third, smart manufacturing. China's smart manufacturing has reached $231 billion in output value from 4 domestic regional clusters. We stand ready to work with companies from BRICS countries to embrace digital transition with the support of smart digital technology solution. In summary, I suggest that the BRICS countries further extend their profound cooperation and reach more consensus on digital infrastructure, digital governance, smart manufacturing, health cooperation, and anti-COVID pandemic. and develop the digital economy for the people's benefit in BRICS countries. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
And really impressive presentation. I'd now like to request Ms. Kruti from South Africa. Please give her opening remarks.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and thank you to the organizers, the chair, and my fellow panelists from across BRICS nations. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed inequalities and has changed how we live, consume, interact, and do business forever. However, the pandemic has also accelerated the digitization for business and governments, and in so doing, we have the opportunity to enhance governance and sustainable growth in our regions. Some of the trends we have seen as NASPERS that are shaping the world are that the acceleration of AI is transforming people's lives radically, that the tide of investment is turning from growth at all costs to sustainable profitability, playing to responsible long-term investors, that the growing importance of responsible technology creates opportunities that make a positive difference to society. The BRICS South Africa team has been focused on digital skilling, small, micro, and medium-sized enterprises, connectivity, platforms, and e-commerce. The BRICS aligned themes are digital governance, digital healthcare, digital infrastructure, skilling, and smart manufacturing. As a global technology operator and investor, NASPERS' strategy continues to be focused on building a global business that improves the daily lives of millions of people. The tech entrepreneurs and teams at the heart of our investments and companies improve the lives of more than 2 billion people in over 100 markets in core business segments like food delivery, payments, fintech, edtech, and classifieds. There are many examples in our business of how we use technology to improve access to education and learning, how we serve the underbanked, and how we enable restaurants to access more consumers, amongst others. As a tech investor and operator, NASPERS aims to make a positive impact on the world through backing local consumer internet companies in high-growth markets like India, Russia, China, and Brazil. We have been present in India since 2007. We have been an early investor in the country's startup ecosystem. Since 2014, we have invested close to $6 billion in our India operations and partner companies, including close to $1 billion invested in helping to build support Indian businesses just in the past financial year. The BRICS nations have without a doubt been at the forefront of the digital revolution, and in many cases are leapfrogging existing already digitized economies. As BRICS nations, we need to be focused on where the next and increased growth will come from. 70% of new value created in the global economy over the next decade will be based on digitally enabled platform business models, according to the World Economic Forum. But at the same time, 47% of the world's populations remains unconnected to the internet. Ensuring that we prioritize those that are digitally disconnected can ensure that we democratize internet access in a post-COVID world. In India, in addition to our investments in digital payments, food, edtech, agritech, health tech, and social e-commerce, we've also supported startups focusing on assisting tech solutions. The initiative called Process Social Impact Challenge for Accessibility will help to improve the lives of millions of people living with disabilities. A post-COVID world will need greater private sector support to solve complex public problems. We're aware of the threat of increasing technological developments and automation on jobs, but I believe that more jobs will be created than lost. This is what we need in South Africa for accelerated growth of the internet sector. We need greater connectivity for inclusivity, because by leaving people behind, we lose the opportunity for economic growth. We need to ensure that our digital skills programs are in place, and NASPERS Labs, as an example, focuses on addressing youth unemployment by providing digital skilling and work readiness training for careers in technology, with the main goal of preparing 10,000 young people to participate in the economy over the next 5 years. When we look at platform play and e-commerce play, at the same time, we have to have a balanced economy. So as an example, if you have a lady who is farming in one part of the country, but she needs to be able to access market, This is how digitization gives her the ability to be able to access the market. It also gives SMMEs greater opportunity to grow, collaborations and partnerships. As part of our commitment to develop South Africa's tech ecosystem, we launched a 1.4 billion Rand early tech investment vehicle. Naspers Foundry, which backs tech companies with high potential growth, has made significant investments in less than 3 years of its existence of about 400 million Rand in 7 tech companies. Technology can transform our economies, create jobs and boost growth. It also makes it possible for the transition to a more sustainable and equitable societies. Working together, we can unlock the growth and potential of all our economies by enabling ordinary citizens to actively participate and benefit from an increasingly digital world. I look forward to engaging with my fellow participants and delegates over the next few days to discuss potential areas of collaboration, and I encourage you as delegates to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Kruti. This is, I must admit that the opening remarks of all our 5 panelists has been really enriching. And from FICCI in India, we're going to approach the panelists and try to get hold of their opening remarks so we can share with the audience. Now we have another 15 minutes, and as this is a panel discussion, I've got a certain set of questions. And given that there's limited time, I'm going to address one question each to the panelists. And I'm going to start with Daniel from Brazil. And my question, Daniel, I'm quite impressed with your speech and your opening remarks, and was quite curious to know the progress of artificial intelligence in Brazil. Can you share with us what is the role that government is playing in supporting development of artificial intelligence, including policy initiatives, and how has been the adoption of artificial intelligence in Brazil across multiple sectors? Can you also share with us if what has been the role of AI in development of digital governance? Daniel?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Campagna, for your question. Well, first of all, when it comes to the adoption of AI, government is first of all helping by adopting in the digitalization of public services in Brazil. This year we have reached 3,000 services that are provided by public agencies that have been digitalized. This includes also the use of artificial intelligence, such as facial recognition. We have a facial recognition device that has been installed in the Brasilia main airport, and this was done last week. Also, we have some important milestones that have been reached, such as 90 million registered single login at www.gov.br, which is the main site for citizens to look and engage in public services. We have a digital government guideline that provided by the Brazil Digital Government Strategy 2020-2022 that have key principles such as intuitive and simple channels, the use of artificial intelligence, shared and interoperable tools and platforms, tech-rich, friendly approach, and other. Across sectors in the private initiative, the Brazilian Strategy for Artificial Intelligence provides investments of $32 million in 10 years, up to $32 million in 10 years. This is done by the government with the help of private sector and ICT research centers. The aim is to promote the creation of up to 8 applied research centers in artificial intelligence, and these centers will be support for a period of 10 years to develop such innovations. The focal areas of the 6 centers will be health, agriculture, industry, and smart cities. And we also have the initiative in the Innovation Network with the Minister of Science and Embrapa, which is a network of research centers that will invest about 28 million in 5 years in 19 Embrapa units. We expect that 136 companies may be benefit, with 145 projects to be benefit from these investments on artificial intelligence specifically. We are in this project, they are aiming to invest in industries such as agriculture, health, manufacturing 4.0, and other sectors with up $40 million in investments. And the last one, which is important to mention, is the AI2 program to startups. It's a pilot that's being developed by the Minister of Science also, that expects to invest in nearby future, we're saying like 1 or 2 years, $2 million to foster the development of open innovation projects, specifically for the adoption of artificial intelligence and to support the greater interaction and connection between actors participating in this innovation ecosystem. I hope I have provided an answer for your very, very deep question, Mr. Campagna. I stay tuned here for further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. I think this is really impressive work that's happening in Brazil. And we'll request after the session, if you can share a lot more details on AI, which we can then recirculate it to all our BRIC members who would like to be more interested to know work that is happening on AI through the Brazil route. I would like to now direct my question to Anna. As you all are aware, Anna has done legendary work on growth of e-commerce, not only in Russia, but she's been a key spokesperson on adoption of e-commerce around the globe. And my questions are split into two. One, what in her mind are 2 or 3 steps that the Russia has taken to make e-commerce so successful? And second part is on how can we empower more startups and MSMEs to become part of this e-commerce success story?
Okay, thank you very much for your question, Mr. Kapania. Thank you. Действительно, объем рынка электронной торговли в России в 2020 году.
Actually, in 2020, the investment has increased much more than you can compare it to the previous year. In 2020, we can say that this has been the year of boom. It has increased by 50% increase in the e-commerce demands. As far as the analysis of the trends, it says that Russia is going to be the most rapidly increasing market for online trade. It is expected to grow as 34% per year. For India, it is 13%. South Africa is 10%, and Brazil and China 9% annual rate. Actually, there has been a radical change in the mode of payments. The payment by card has increased by 50%. This has been like a boom, which could not have taken place if the conditions were not being created for it. As for the World Bank, about 80% Russians have access to the internet. Russia also has a leadership position. The rate of use of internet is much lower. For all the sellers, it has become mandatory for all the sellers to go on online mode of payment, online cash counters, and the access to online payments. It has become the catalyzer for electronic commerce as such.
The future is not what I'm thinking, is not a total domination of e-commerce. Rather, it's complete digitalization of all commerce that could be the key to saving traditional retail. Отвечая на ваш второй вопрос, цифровизация — это, конечно, неоднозначный процесс.
It is about the second question. It can have positive as well as negative impact. As a result of unequal access to the internet, or to the due to the differences in the methods of access to the e-commerce or the instruments related to e-commerce and digitalization, there will be so now the literacy as far as electronic processes are concerned is at the moment in Russia only about 4%. As before, many people do not have the required education and awareness for electronic methods, processes. There are remote educational methods. There are not adequate teachers to impart this knowledge. This is not only in Russia. In Brazil, for example, for 220 in Brazil, about 14% only schools, that is only 14% they had some digital processes in place in the process of education, and only that many teachers could say that they had been able to impart electronic education in electronics. Therefore, digital strategy first of all should have, in the first place, the program of imparting education, and this I'm addressing to the BRICS countries. In 2018, we developed a program for successful work in the digital processes. We taught girls the process of digital processes, various digital processes, including e-commerce. We are now further developing modules for diversifying this into various aspects of including e-commerce. The success can only be achieved actually only if we are able to communicate with one another the needs and strengths. We need to impart skills for use of electronic devices and electronic processes to all the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. I know your passion for e-commerce and growth of digital strategy. I really appreciate. I move on to Mr. Tushar Parekh. And in short, Tushar, could you explain, in India, financial inclusion has helped various initiatives of the government. How do you see this going forward? Are the growth opportunities as a result of this financial inclusion?
Thank you, Mr. Kapania, for the question. As I mentioned in my initial talk as well, like financial inclusion and mainly banking and postal, we are going and reaching all the rural areas as well. So as you see, for the future point of view, India has come a long way in facilitating accesses to banking service to the last mile and increasing the usage of financial products. And there are strategies which are already being laid, like National Strategy for Financial Inclusion, which is 2019-2024. And also important is National Strategy for Financial Education, which is very key, which has been with a strategy of 2020 till 2025 to provide a roadmap for a coordinated approach towards financial inclusion and financial literacy, which is key, along with consumer protection. India, like many of the emerging economies, had encountered challenges to provide secure and affordable products and services for an individual citizens, and also small and medium business with lack of security and affordable banking, financial and insurance services, leading to higher proportion of financially excluded populations, which in a way contributed to a larger informal economy. The Indian government and financial institutions in India have taken various steps much ahead and made an impact to the social need and brought the major population in the formal economy through financial inclusion program. Many such direct benefit transfer, subsidy payments, etc. have been eliminated the need for a middleman and reduce the bureaucracy to a greater extent. As you also mentioned, the government for its part had used Aadhaar to drive greater financial inclusion and market efficiencies. Open banking accounts and Aadhaar has passed resolved the absence of legal identity document, which previously accounted for more than 20% of financial exclusions. And with the introduction of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, many companies and many industries are leveraging Jan Dhan Mobile and Aadhaar Trinity to offer more than 220 welfare schemes and other benefits and products to the citizen. Several of these initiatives have led to a number of growth opportunities across various industries, and the major focus given towards enabling digital infrastructure at the ground level so as to spread use of digital payment in a convenient, safe, secure, and affordable manner. And to harness the latent potential at the bottom of the pyramid, number of players are emerging in the field, from traditional banks, niche financial entities such as payments, small and medium banks, microfinance institutions, and promising fintech companies, which are driving growth opportunity across the socio-economic spectrum. And according to me, all these initiatives has come as a boon in the current COVID crisis in India, where there is an increased use of digital payments from the traditional cash economy, and thanks to higher penetration of smartphone across the country. So that's where I see the future of more financial inclusion, more products and service for all the citizens in India. Thank you, Mr. Kapani.
Thank you so much, Tushar. I'm going to request the FICCI team that we're going to extend the discussion for another 5 minutes. We don't want to miss the opportunity to get the answers from both our colleagues in China and South Africa. I hope all the participants can stay back to listen to their answers. My next question is to Ms. Mang. And we were very impressed with the opening remarks that she made on the growth of digital in China, especially the role of 5G. And that is why we're very curious to know what role did government play in successful implementation of 5G. We heard that there is a fast growth of 5G and the coverage is fast expensive. So there is a huge financial burden that we find in other countries. How did they overcome that? Over to you, Ms. Mang.
Thank you, Mr. Kapania. So, Chinese government has played a very active role in successfully implementing 5G in China. The government, through several measures such as setting strategies, formulating policies, building foundations, and building platforms, and optimizing the environment. For example, to speed up 5G network construction and deployment, the government increased base station site resource support, because technically 5G, especially in big cities, need more base station site. So the government has policies to increase base station size resource support. And also 5G network for the daily operation need more electric power and need good frequency resources. From this point of view, the government strengthened electric power and frequency management to ensure that the industry can get good resources. And also, the Chinese government promotes network sharing and roaming across networks, because people don't want to see too many repetitive investments in across the country. So Chinese government promote network sharing and roaming across networks of different network operators. The second point is government has put a lot of effort to enrich 5 technology application. For example, there is some major plans in China, like 5G plus medical health, 5G plus industrial internet, 5G plus internet of vehicles. So the government tried to build a very healthy 5G application ecosystem. The third area is the government continues to support 5G technology research and development. We can see that the government supports the research and development of 5G technology and standards. And also the government helped to organize and carry out 5G testing and verification, which is very, very important to the interconnection of the applications from different operators. So with this all very important, and also we think it's also very important for the government support. From the government support is that the government is accelerating to build a 5G security assurance system. So to strengthen the security of 5G network infrastructure and also strengthen 5G network data security protection. So the government has increased the network security industrial ecology to try to set up a very higher secured data protection environment based on 5G network. So with all these efforts, we really see very fast applications growth based on the 5G infrastructure in China. So this is all my information regarding to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mang. This is very, very impressive and I think very useful for our BRICS members. I now move to my final question to Ms. Tuti from South Africa. And we'd like to know what role South African government has played to attract, in general, investments for digital technologies, especially all the new explosive, exponentially growing and emerging new technologies.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Kapanya. What we need is greater connectivity. And so government has played an important role in ensuring that we have more spectrum available so that we can have more of a rollout of internet products. And then we are also focusing on digital skilling, and government and private sector are working on that to ensure that more digital skills and work readiness programs are available for the youth, because as you'll know, we're a youthful population. And so being able to provide employment and appropriate skilling to them is something that's important. Giving SMMEs, the small, medium-sized enterprises, greater opportunities to grow, collaborations and partnerships. As part of our commitment to develop South Africa's tech ecosystem, as I mentioned before, we've launched the 1.4 billion Rand early stage investment vehicle, and we've made 400 million Rand in investments into 7 tech companies in South Africa. And technology, as we all know, can transform our economies, create jobs, boost growth, and we're working together to unlock growth potential for all our economies. I think as a continent, Africa needs more public-private partnerships to accelerate economic growth and to harness the potential that the fourth industrial revolution brings for the future of the large and growing population of young people of working age. Thank you, Mr. Kapania.
Thank you. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you to Fruti, and then thank you to all my panelists. I think it's been an extremely enriching as well as a great learning experience for me, and I hope it is also for my panelists as well as for audience. And lots of new information has been shared. I will look forward to if this information can be passed on to FICCI administrative team, and they can recirculate it to all members, so everybody can benefit from this experience. Thank you so much, and hope to meet you sometime in future. Thank you, and namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Now